Connie Willis, the podcast. Taking you into new ways of thinking, even providing answers to questions you've often pondered. Connie Willis, the podcast. This is a Connie Willis exclusive. Whistleblower. What you're about to hear has never been heard anywhere else. This is Connie Willis, the podcast.
Connie Willis back with the private military, government contractor, and U.S. Navy Special Warfare veteran. Robert Treat is with us discussing his life, his background, and what he sees for the future and what he has learned along the way that he's going to tell us about that may answer some questions. Whistleblower, informant, these are the names that a lot of people will tag on to him. It's Robert Treat, as well as deathbed confession. However, he's got a chance to make it through. Go to the GoFundMe that is in the description. Help him out there. And also, it's got all the information about your dogs in there as well. So that's where you want to take a look, see where you can help. And we want to make sure you're okay. So just today, right now, how are you feeling, Robert?
Mostly a good day. And the pressure on my heart makes it kind of exhausting just getting through. But all in all, today I'm doing okay.
This is a Connie Willis exclusive on Connie Willis, the podcast.
Well, we've gotten into the conversation where you've given us a lot of information on your growing up, your education, the moving around, the leaving of school, and getting into the Marines, which took you into the Navy, all the different things that you did in the Navy. And we were talking about your dad. There's so many connective things that at the time, you're just living life. You're not noticing anything. It's not till later in life as things continue to unfold. And even now, I think you're looking back and putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But where do you want to go as in, okay, you're going through the Navy, and then what happened with you?
Well, the things in my time in the Navy that I didn't think were significant, and because of experiences at a younger age, I just had a tendency to just go with whatever. It's like, hey, will you do this? Hey, will you do that? Yeah, no problem. Just throw me in the deep end. I was always okay. Just throw me in there. A lot of my assignments in the Navy were well outside of my pay grade, and at the time I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but okay, I'll do it.
What do you mean by that? For instance.
Okay, I was not, even though I had a top secret clearance, and this is something that's very common in the military, and I hear a lot in TV shows where they talk about this security clearance and that security clearance, and there's 40,000 levels above top secret. Well, no, that's not really how it works. You can have a top secret clearance. Anything above top secret is really what we call eyes only and need to know. So your top secret eyes only clearance, covers you for whatever area you're in. So I need to know, and I could see eyes only things regarding anti-submarine warfare. However, that did not clear me for things like Radio Central, right, which is the hub. All fleet communications come in through Radio Central. That's where our cryptology, our ACAC, everything is stored in Radio Central. And I wasn't cleared for that space, but I was routinely asked to go in and do jobs inside Radio Central.
Oh, that's interesting.
It was usually, hey, will you copy these files, or hey, would you get these communications? These are things that were for the captain or for the admiral. I shouldn't be seeing this. So a lot of times I would know fleet movements that I had no business knowing. And I pulled a few pranks too, because I hated my executive officers. So I would rig up, phony radio communication nets and pretend to be, a Russian destroyer and
No, you did that?
Oh, I drove him insane. And we also had the barrel switch, the master switch for the radars that turned them from true or relative. True is like north is north, right? Relative is north is whatever direction you're facing, right? So like, 090 true would be, 90 degrees off north. 090 relative is, basically to your right.
And this, you didn't get in trouble for any of this?
I was always in trouble.
Okay, you were always in trouble. Okay.
I was court-martialed 13 weeks in a row.
Oh my. Okay, but how do things continue on that you keep moving forward?
Oh, they'd bust me down, put me on a restriction, and then they just reinstate me because there was really nobody else to do the job.
I gotcha. Okay, so you were seeing things you shouldn't have at the time. Looking back, obviously, you see it 2020, but at the time, were you going, and you did say, hey, why am I seeing this? But did you notice that happened repeatedly, and did you start thinking anything about that, or no, not at all?
I didn't really think anything of it at that time, other than, hey, I'm getting all this extra work dumped on me, and I'm not getting paid extra for it. At the time, that's all I thought.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
It wasn't until the last year of my service that things started to make me go, I wonder what all that was about. Because I was, my final year in the Navy, I was befriended by a CIA officer. And it actually followed another incident where I was downtown Waikiki, and I would always go by myself, and I would, grab a bag of food at the McDonald's next to the zoo, and then I would climb up the side of Diamond Head Crater. And there was these old World War II pill boxes. There were gun emplacements that were up on the side of Diamond Head. And I would climb up there and just sit and watch the ocean by myself and eat my McDonald's and just relax. And one day when I was getting my McDonald's, there was this guy behind me, and he said, hey, you got a picture in your wallet of a girl in a blue dress wearing a pearl necklace, and she's got bright blue eyes. And I turned around and said, how did you know that? And he said, we need to talk. And I'm like, really? So I go outside with him, and we sit on the bench down by the zoo, which is right at the end of the beach there in Waikiki. And he starts asking me.
You're a pretty tough dude, by the way, right? So you're like, hey, are you kind of like, I'll take this guy on if I have to?
Oh, I wasn't scared. I was a competitive fighter from the time I was a very young child. I started judo when I was 5, and I was actually scheduled to go to the training center for the British judo Olympic team. The year we moved to America, I felt really cheated when we moved to America because I was supposed to go to the '84 Olympics for judo.
Oh my!
And I got robbed. So we're sitting there, and he's asking me questions about, psychic experiences. Have I ever been tested? And he said he wanted to put me into a testing program. It turns out he was DOD. No particular branch of service that he identified other than he worked for the Department of Defense. And I agreed to take those tests, just out of curiosity.
And he had total proof of who he was.
Oh,
you
yes.
had no doubt.
No doubt.
Okay.
Especially when he took me to the building where we tested.
Okay.
It's not a building you just, go in and violate.
Where is this building?
It was the building in the old show, Hawaii Five-0?
Oh my gosh. Dun, 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 dun. I just...
Yeah, that building. That's the building.
Oh, okay.
Which I believe, if memory serves, I think that was, they used to be the Royal Palace. And now it's police headquarters, and that's what they're called, Hawaii Five-0. And so, 5-0's there, and, we're up on the 3rd floor in an office, and that's where the testing occurred. So we went through the testing, and it was pretty much run-of-the-mill stuff. They had all these cards with symbols on, and, you'd, lay down 3 cards, and I asked them to identify the symbols on each card, and my score was a little better than just guessing. you know, nothing outstanding. And all the other, psychological testing, remote viewing, telekinesis, telepathy, all of that was really nothing spectacular. I didn't excel in any of those areas.
Did you know anything about any of that kind of stuff at the time?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
I just did what he told me to do. The last thing we tried was a meditation state where he'd ask me to do something very particular, which was, after we entered the meditative state, was to envision the sphere, and then to make the sphere change colors, right? And apparently what he told me was it's very difficult to envision color in a meditative state. It's usually nondescript.
Really?
Right? And he had this thing where once you'd gone beyond, being able to make the sphere do what you want to do in that meditative state, that it would become what he called the blue pearl. And I achieved that state in the very first session, and he called a halt to everything right then and there.
All right, talk about that a little bit first.
What limited bit I know was what he told me was it usually takes many years of training and devotion to be able to achieve that. And that if you go beyond that, if you go beyond the blue pearl, there's a chance that you will not want to come back. Your body will just die.
And it's not that you can't; it's that you won't want to.
Exactly.
But what? How do you know you're the blue pearl? That's where you may have said it, and it just went over me. Is there a certain look, or you see a pearl, or it's blue, or
you see the blue, you see the sphere. And if you've gone through the colors, red, green, the regular blue, it transforms into this. The way a pearl, it's white, but it's not really white. It's kind of yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what it starts doing. It becomes alive. It becomes active in motion. And it makes you want to go into it mentally. You are drawn. You want to be one with this thing.
I see. And if you see that sphere, which he calls the blue pearl, and it takes years to get to that, and you got to it like immediately.
Yeah, and he said you can enter it and go beyond it, but he never disclosed to me what is beyond it.
Oh, man.
He just said if you go beyond it, there's a chance you will not want to come back.
Interesting.
And I knew me, there wasn't much in this life that I found I would have stayed for. If there would have been something beyond that, I probably would have been the one not to come back.
Do you think, just in hindsight now, that the blue pearl is almost like the white light that people see, and it's just the other side?
Possibly, but no.
You think it's something other than that?
I think it's something other than that, and I think I'd seen it before.
Why would you say that?
Well, this gets into my first encounter with the Greys. And I don't really like that term, the Greys, but it's really the only term I have.
Is there more you want to say before you go to the Greys? From the blue pearl and the guy testing you?
Well, we were kind of talking about my encounter with
the testing.
Yeah, with the testing, and with the CIA officer that I met at the end of my my Navy career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you decide if you want to go right to the Greys there, or whatever's in between. You don't have a simple story. It's all over. Yeah.
How did we segue into that part? What was the question before?
Into so the guy took you to the third floor and was giving you tests, and he mentioned, you saw the blue pearl immediately, and he stopped you.
Yeah, and that's really where the testing ended.
Mm-hmm.
We never retested. That was the end of that. Not long after, maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that ended, I was drinking beer down Hotel Street.
What you just heard has never been heard anywhere else. This is Connie Willis, the podcast. Learn more about Connie, her guests, and be sure to join her private membership shows, Blue Rock Talk and Connie After Dark, at ConnieWillis.com. Whistleblower.